lungs are not doing well. Then he comes back after and says, well, yeah, my mom's lungs not doing well. He said, I guess if I keep smoking this, I guess my lungs, I guess I have the same thing. But God can heal. See, don't mess with God's mercy now. He wasn't doing everything in the natural to get positioned for the supernatural. First of all, I had to go back and wash my clothes. That's a big thing. But the idea was he was doing, you can't talk about, I'm going to just live any kind of way and do everything I want to do. And then God's grace and mercy going to cover. Now, God is a good God. God is a wonderful God. But I've got to do in the natural everything necessary to get ready for the supernatural. So his assumption was, since I know God can heal, I'm going to keep hitting this thing, have a bang come down my head, because I know that if I get diagnosed with something, God can heal. Did not do everything. I'm telling you, in order to make sure we get ready for the supernatural, we have to go back and see what we have to do in the natural. Amen, somebody? So here's the point now. So now this month we talk about overtakes. That's the whole thing, and you see on the very front of your bulletin, really the series title is right here. It is Overcome, Overflow, and Overtake. Overcome, overflow, and overtake. So join me, let's read together our May confession as we lay the foundation of this. I operate in a spirit of exceptional excellence. Let's read this now. I commit to partake in learning spiritual precepts and to undertake applying spiritual principles in order to overtake spiritual problems. I need to break this down for just a moment. So this idea, I need to put like 2 words to say it. So the idea was, and it may take almost to remember. When you get it, you're going to get it. So the idea, so let's go back and take a look at this first part. Let's read again from the part up to the end. I commit to partake in learning spiritual precepts. All right, so what does that mean? Partake simply means to join in. Now I'm going to commit to doing what I need to do to understand spiritual precepts. What does that mean? That I'm going to commit. That I can't just put a Bible under my pillow at night and expect the verse to come in my head. I got to commit myself. I got to join in learning. I have to participate in learning about the Word. See, we'll never grow the way we should grow and can grow as Christians just by reading the Word on Sundays, on Sundays in church and Bible study. There's an ongoing process. We got right now, we have some how many have ever taken a final exam in school at any given time, getting ready to take a final? Amen. So what happened? So did you just go back in, if the teacher gave you some material, did you just get the material in that class and not look into the final exam? What you have to do? They gave it to you to study. So by the time the final exam came, either got exempt or made an A. We have to participate in learning spiritual precepts. I'm going to talk about the difference between precepts and principles in just a minute. Now, let's go. I love Billy Graham, the late Billy Graham. I love this. I've always loved this. Christianity is not a spectator sport. It's something we have to be totally involved in. So, in other words, I have to join in. There's something I have to do as a believer. If I want to overtake problems in my life, I have to be the one that's going to learn about the spiritual precepts available. All right? Next part we have here. Let's read this one. And to undertake. Undertake simply means to promise or guarantee. I'm going to undertake. I'm going to commit to, I'm going to promise to apply spiritual principles. Let me give you a spiritual principle. Last month we talked about authority. And we said now we had authority over 3 things at least we talked about last month. Over sickness, over storms, over strongholds. The minimum. Now the idea, if I don't know this spiritual principle, I'm never able to apply it to see manifestation. Amen? I have to learn. What's a principle? A principle is something, or it's like a law. It doesn't change. So here's the spiritual principle, whether you saved or not. Galatians 6:7. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, he shall also reap. Whatever he sows, we're going to reap. I don't care who we are. People can be saved, not saved, whatever. That's a spiritual principle, spiritual law. You're going to reap what you sow. Now watch out. You're not going to just reap what you sow. You're going to reap more than you sow. and later than you sow. A farmer doesn't put a seed in the ground today and expect it to come up tomorrow. You're going to reap what you sow, later than you sow, and more than you sow. So if I sow love, I'm going to reap love. If I sow grace, I'm going to reap grace. But if I sow discord, if I sow confusion, I'm going to what? Reap confusion, later confusion, and more confusion. That's a spiritual principle and a spiritual law. So here, we are guaranteeing, we are promising to go back and apply these spiritual principles. Now, look right, read this with me, please. Application always leads to seeing manifestation. Come on again now. Application always leads to seeing manifestation. One more time. Application always leads to seeing manifestation. If I apply the principles of the Word, I'm going to see what the Word says I'm supposed to have. Amen. But I cannot go in and expect to receive what God has promised if I'm not going to apply His Word. Amen. I cannot expect to receive what God has promised if I'm not going to apply His Word. And then lastly, to overtake. Can you read this with me? To overtake. Overtake means to seize, take hold of, to overtake spiritual problems. So let me just talk this for a moment, just about spiritual problems, about overtaking. So overtaking means to seize. It means to, at that point, take hold of. Let me make this, well, let me go through and share this with you first. So here's an example of this. So here's an example of overtaking. So there was a baseball game in 2011. Ball goes up. This little kid had the ball. The lady next to her decides she wanted the ball. So the scene before this, is the little girl, little boy, whatever it is, has the ball. This woman sitting next to her gets up out of her seat and takes the ball. And then folks give her a high five. Man. So the idea was, so what are we saying? So spiritual problems are trying to overtake us. It is time for us to start taking the joy back. Come on now. And the peace back. And also the faithfulness back. Sometimes we've allowed problems to seem so overwhelming, they overtake us and take over us. Instead of us saying, no, I have authority. I have the right to take over every problem in my life. I don't care what that problem is. I got the authority in the name of the Lord to overtake problems. Please give God a hand clap for the authority that we have. Too many times we are letting problems just overtake us instead of us overtaking problems. Let me give you another, make this there for you about season and taking hold of. I told you all when I met my wife, some little dude down here was trying to be Mr. Dion, and all up in working with her, and I fought her to some degree because she went out on a pity date. Because you went on a pity date. See, a pity date is when you have nothing else to do, and you call up somebody, and she gonna talk about, I didn't know he liked me. I'm like, oh, girl, please. Christian, please. The idea was so she goes on this pity date. Now he thinks they're going to get married. And all she wants to do is have something to do on a Friday night after church. So then they go to church together one time, and she's in there raising her hand. He said, let me tell you right now, if you do that again, I'm never coming back again. So at this point, allegedly, they were just friends. That's just my friend. So we go in, and I would talk to her at work. I would notice her friend was in her office a whole lot. When I called, the friend was there. We got off the phone, the friend was there. Called the next day. Now believe me, now their offices were not next to each other. They're on the other side of the building, but her friend's showing up. So we go down here, and I have a chance to meet this friend. I said, let me meet, dude. So we go over here. And so didn't know who he was. And so again, as I told you, so here's the doorway right here. She goes in, he's on the phone. And so, and it clearly was a business call. He's trying to sound professional. Yes, I'll be at the meeting at 3 o'clock this afternoon. I look forward to talking to you. And she comes in. He's like, hey. So no, mind you, now she's standing here. I'm on the other side of the door. So her hand is going like this, but he's just so glad to see her. He's like, hey, and then go back to his call. And comes in. Hangs up the phone, so we get ready to walk in. how you doing? Now, you don't talk about no friend like, how you doing? You don't do that. So when she comes in, all of a sudden, I walk in with her. And homeboy was probably like 5'7", and I walked in even on tiptoes. And so he was like, hi, how are you? How are you doing? I'm fine, little brother. So I shook his hand. So then, here's my wife in the middle. She's like, oh, they're going to fight over me. So she's already at this point. So he goes in, and so he extends his hand. And I shook his hand like out. Like you ever had, like, if you ever tried to jack up a car, and you got to put that force to it, I grabbed his hand. I started turning yellow and green and all colors, and I just shook it. And he's like, oh, strong grip there, buddy. Strong grip there, buddy. So that's what overtaking. I grabbed that hand, and they're going to say, well, have a seat. Now, mind you, he's already almost a foot shorter than me. I said, no, I'm good. So he leaves back on there, and he's like, well, what are your plans for today? What are y'all going to do? So the overtake, I'm saying I went through and took control of and seized his hand so he would never have to hear from Junior again. The idea was you got to get your problem. Your problems come to try to take over you. You got to say, no, I got some authority, and I got some power. I got some right in the name of the Lord. I am not going to let this problem overtake me. God has been too good. Jesus got out from the grave. I am not going to be overtaken by a problem when I got authority to overtake a problem. Too many times we've let stuff overtake us instead of us overtaking them. I am not saying some of these problems are not huge. I'm not saying they're not always challenging. I'm saying whatever the problem is. Remember that slide we had before? We talked to the problem. I got for God. God, I got a big problem. I got a big God. You got to remind your problem, I serve a big God. Problem, you're not bigger than my God. That's how David took out Goliath. David on average like maybe 5'8". He's taking out Goliath 9 feet 9, made Shaq look like a baby. And David took him out because he did not look at how big Goliath was. He saw and remembered how big his God is. I don't care what your problem is. I don't care what the challenge is. We serve a big God. We serve an awesome God. We serve a mighty God. We serve an amazing God. We serve an everlasting God. Problem? I got a big problem. But problem, I got a bigger God. And too many times we let problems overtake us rather than us overtaking problems. And what are we saying here? And here's the real point. Every situation, every problem we face at the heart of it is spiritual. I said every problem we face at the heart of it is spiritual. Depression comes in, I'm thinking wrong, spiritual. Sometimes we produce something by saying something. Sometimes we've given birth to things that should not have been birthed because we spoke it. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Why do you think God put 52 bars around the tongue? Because sometimes we have spoken things and created things that were never supposed to be. So now here's the difference between, what happens now between precepts and our teeth, and precepts and principles. We talk about right here, we have now, look what I was saying, what our point was here. If we talk about here, read this with me again. I commit to what? Partake, that's to join in, doing what? Learning spiritual precepts. Think about that for a moment. Precepts. We'll come back to that in a minute. And to undertake applying spiritual what? Principles. Keep reading now. In order to overtake spiritual problems. So what's the difference between a precept and a principle? This is what we're going to talk about just for a moment here. Precept and a principle. So what happens, a precept is godly direction. Precept upon precept. Getting direction upon direction. Got God's direction for doing something. When you didn't know how to handle something and you got revelation, that's a precept. Here's what we have right here, and then principles would be godly truth. All right, got me? So precepts, direction from God. Principles, truth from God. Precepts, direction from God. Principles, God's truth. I have a precept. I'm getting directed in a way I hadn't gotten directed before. But then I have my principles to get godly truth. Now let's put that in together. So now let's read this with that understanding. Let's read this now together. I commit to partake in learning what? How God directs me. Okay. And to undertake applying God's truth, keep going, in order